Hi everyone, welcome to Best Recapped Movie. Today we want to speak about movie that called The Old Guard. A group of immortal humans are doing various missions around the world trying to help people. But some people realize that they are immortal, so they face problems that they have never experienced before. This video contains spoiler. Booker and Andy meet each other in one of the streets of Morocco. Booker explains that CIA agent James Copley, now a freelancer, wants to hire them for a mission in South Sudan. But Andy disagrees because they have already done a mission in South Sudan and they don't do a mission twice in the same place because it's too risky. They go to the hotel and meet their old colleagues Nikki and Joe. Everyone agrees to do the mission, but Andy is still hesitant because he thinks that their efforts to improve the world are useless. She also doesn't trust Copley. They convince her to go with Booker to meet him to see what he has to say, and she agrees. As Andy and Booker sit at an outdoor table near a cafe, Nikki and Joe watch from the hotel window to make sure nothing goes wrong. She asks Copley why he left the CIA, and he tells her that he decided to take a break when his wife got sick, but when she died, he couldn't bring himself to go back. Copley explains about the hostage taking of 17 students of a school and how they can rescue them.
And your team's the best I've ever seen.
So they accept the job. A helicopter takes the team to South Sudan, where they investigate the hostage situation. At night, they quietly kill the guards and make their way inside. But at the shelter, they find that there are no hostages. Suddenly dozens of military forces enter the room and start shooting at the team members. The soldiers try to leave when they think they are dead, but their bodies begin to heal quickly and expel the bullets. They rise from the ground and kill the soldiers. There are cameras on the ceiling and Andy realizes they are set up.
We've been set up.
We find out that Copley sees them and intends to kill them. Then we see an old photo from 1864 on Copley's desk, which shows that Andy's team has survived for hundreds of years. They bury their bloody clothes in the sand, angry that their identities have been revealed, so they decide to find Copley and kill him. On the other hand, in Afghanistan, we see a group of American soldiers trying to find a dangerous terrorist. A young girl named Nile Freeman manages to find the location of the terrorist. They enter the place and shoot him. But they need him alive, so when Nile tries to keep him alive, he cuts her throat with a knife.
Help, please.
At the same time, Andy's team members are sleeping on the train when they realize what happened to Nile. Because she is also of their race. But Nile doesn't know about this yet. But the problem is that if they can see Nile, then Nile can also see them, so the US government can find the team members with her help. So Andy decides to go to Nile and the rest of the team to find Copley.
Find Copley.
Back in Afghanistan, Nile's colleague is shocked because she says she saw Nile's death. Nile does not even have a scar from the injury.
No, there's not even a scratch.
So one of her friends gets suspicious. In England, Merrick encourages people to invest in his project at a conference. He tells them that he has the technology to figure out how to end human disease and increase human lifespan. Afterwards, Merrick meets with Copley and some of his team and discusses Andy and her crew. Copley shows him the footage of them being able to come back to life. But Merrick says it's just an edited film for his investor and needs hard evidence like the skin or flesh of Andy's team members. Copley explains that he found someone and will come to them soon. But Merrick says that one person is not enough for scientific investigation and he needs all of them. So in Afghanistan, Nile's case is reported and she is told that she will be sent to Germany for further testing. She goes to her tent and finds that her friends have already packed up her things. But when she is about to leave, on the way, Andy attacks them and takes the unconscious Nile with her. When Nile regains consciousness in Andy's car, she tries to escape. She throws herself to the ground, but Andy stops driving to pick her up. When Nile tries to escape, Andy shoots him in the back of the head. She waits for Niall to come back to life, and when she does, Andy tells her that if she wants answers, she'll have to go back to the car. Andy and Niall go to Paris on a plane involved in drug trafficking. Niall doesn't get an answer from Andy, so when Andy falls asleep, Niall ties him to her seat and holds a gun to the pilot's head, telling him to go back. Andy tells the pilot in Russian to pretend to be dead to distract Niall. As Niall and Andy fight, the pilot returns to Paris to fly the plane. In the end, Andy wins and convinces Niall to come with her to Paris. When they land in Paris, they meet up with the rest of the members in an old abandoned church. Niall learns that the members dream of each other when they are apart. Then everyone introduces themselves. Booker was immortalized fighting Napoleon in the 18th century. Nicky and Joe saw each other as enemies in the Crusades in the 12th century. And Andy says she's the oldest but can't remember how old he really is. Also, they have lost someone, because there comes a time when wounds don't heal anymore.
One day your wounds just don't heal up anymore.
In the middle of the night, Niall has a nightmare that wakes everyone up. She explains that she dreamed of a woman drowning in an iron coffin in the middle of the sea and coming back to life. They explains to her that she saw Gwen, an immortal woman, who fights alongside Andy. When they tried to free the women accused of witchcraft, they themselves were arrested and accused of witchcraft. So Gwen was thrown into the sea with an iron coffin and Andy couldn't find her anymore. Andy blames himself for Gwen, because she is responsible for saving the lives of team members. After finding out about Gwen's story, Niall panics and leaves the house. Andy follows and explains that this is the way things are and they only have each other to help each other.
We're all you've got.
At the same time, special forces enter the house. When Andy and Niall return, they find Nicky and Joe kidnapped and Booker injured. But Copley needs the other members, especially Andy, so Andy goes to fight alone. Andy kills a lot of special forces. So Copley decides to leave without Andy.
I strongly recommend that we leave right now.
Copley takes Nicky and Joe to Merrick's office on a private plane. In Merrick's office, he wants to use Nicky and Joe's genetic code to change the genetics of other humans like them to become immortal. He sees the purpose of this work as generating income and does not care about hurting Nicky and Joe. Copley warns him that the issue is about science, not profit and cruelty. But Merrick says,
"You owe me 2 more.
Andy, Booker and Niall go to an abandoned ancient mine. Andy realizes that she's still bleeding from the fight at the church and isn't healing on her own. She says she is going to look around. Booker tells Niall how hard it is to watch the people around you die, especially when they want you to teach them to be immortal like you, but you can't help it. Andy goes to the pharmacy and buys medical supplies. The cashier helps her treat her wounds in the back room. When Andy questions why the woman is helping her, especially without asking any questions, the woman says that she expects Andy to pass the act of kindness onto someone else tomorrow. As Andy returns to the car, she tries to come to terms with the fact that she is no longer immortal. Joe and Nicky are strapped into medical chairs in Merrick's lab. Copley tells Merrick that he has all the samples he could possibly need and that he doesn't need to hold them hostage anymore. Merrick says that if he frees them, his rivals will find them, so he wants to imprison them forever. Nicky tells the nurse that they can't get any results, that people have done similar experiments on them in the past, with the same justification as helping people, and it never worked. Niall wakes up in the middle of the night and goes outside. She sees Andy checking her phone and they talk about family and the pain of immortality. Booker meets with them to say that he has found a possible location where Copley might be. So they go there. They emerge from the fence surrounding Copley's building and begin preparing to enter. Andy orders Booker to go ahead, but Niall refuses, saying she can't make a living killing people and wants to spend as much time as she can with her family. Andy lets her take the car and the guns and then bury them somewhere. Andy enters the building alone with Booker. They find Copley in a room upstairs who has compiled a history of Andy's life. Suddenly, Booker shoots Andy in the side and restrains him. He explains that he handed everyone over to Merrick and Copley because he hopes Merrick can find a way to kill them so they don't have to suffer anymore. but realizes that Andy is not healing and begins to panic.
Look at this, she's not healing, go get some.
Merrick and his men enter and notice that Andy is not healed. Then they knock Andy and Booker unconscious and take them with them. Copley warns that Andy may not survive the experiments, but Merrick doesn't care and they knock Copley unconscious too. At the same time, when Niall tries to bury the guns, she notices that the magazine of the gun that Booker gave to Andy is empty, so she realizes that there is a plan to arrest Andy and quickly returns to Copley's place. When she gets there, she finds Copley alone. Copley explains that Andy has saved people's lives and served humanity for hundreds of years. Niall asks why did he help to arrest her. Copley replies that when he lost his wife, he thought that if they had Andy's gift, he could have saved his wife's life. So its purpose was to make this gift available to other people. They decide to go to Merrick's lab to save Andy and the team members. Niall asks Copley not to accompany her in the building, because Copley cannot survive. She enters the building and kills a number of special forces. In the laboratory, the team members criticize Booker for what he did. Merrick and his men realize that she is another immortal. Niall manages to enter the laboratory and save them. So everyone temporarily forgives Booker to kill Merrick. Working as a team, they kill Merrick's men while trying to stop Andy from being killed. Merrick escapes to the penthouse on the top floor. Andy's team goes after him and after entering there, they don't find Merrick. They think Merrick escaped with the elevator. So Niall and Andy, who is injured, stay in the penthouse and the others go after Merrick. Suddenly, Merrick comes in with an axe and scolds Andy for not letting him save humanity.
Do you think he speaks Russian?
Andy and Niall injure him with a quick reaction, and Niall throws Merrick down the window with her. After that, they quickly leave the place. The team members decide to punish Booker for his mistake and leave him alone for 100 years. Niall decides to join the team and with the help of Copley, she creates a fake news about her death for her family. Copley shows them the history he found of Andy's activities. Andy, hoping to help humanity again, hires Copley as someone who finds them suitable missions and keeps their tracks hidden.
I'd be honored.
And here the story ends. If you enjoy, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.